This is So here with Detour ENT here at Focus TV Studios, and I have with me today
Pariis Noel in the building.
Pariis Noel, how you feeling?
I'm blessed, man. Highly favored, can't complain,
All right, that's always good to hear, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we like to do here is get a little bit of a background for every new artist that we interview, in order to introduce them to our audience, and then those that may not know about them. Okay. So we're going to start off with, where are you from?
West Side, Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, all right, from the West Side.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up over there?
I want to say it's probably, I moved around kind of like a lot throughout the West Side. Kind of started off on like early stages, Plymouth and I want to say Southfield Road. Then kind of went over to 7 Mile and Livernois, and then kind of really took things to I want to say 6 Mile and Southfield, where my mom got a spot over there now. So I want to say it's pretty much humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? I would say we grew up blessed, but it was always some trial and error here and there, whatever. But that's just kind of like building our character,
Right.
And it was I'm fortunate. I ain't gonna hold you up.
Okay.
I'm fortunate,
So I seen you did a song called Dear Dad. Is that like a true depiction of your childhood?
Yeah, that is something that was more so centerpiece of something I was dealing with, that I felt that I needed to kind of air out, at the moment. It was something that just really, where I felt like I can escape, you know what I'm saying, in a sense where I couldn't really have a proper conversation with my father at the time. So it was just more so on the end where it's like, okay, let me do it best how I know how to do it best. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to air out how I feel, per se, because, conversations lead to conflict. Conflict leads to, all these other different things, combativeness. And I just feel like when you do it through the music platform, it's like, I'm going to sit you down, you can listen, and this is what it's going to be. But,
Okay, so he did get to hear the song?
Yeah, it wasn't even in my intentions to do that.
No.
It was just kind of came about where it got to him, and it just kind of spiraled from there. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that I don't regret it, but I will say that things could have been different, because it kind of caused us to have a 2-year tension between one another.
Okay.
And we didn't speak. I didn't speak. I kind of just alienated from myself from the situation after the incidents and things that had happened. So,
So do you feel like the song did what it needed to do, as far as getting out what you needed to get out?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that the both of you can move on. Because where's your relationship at now?
Well, honestly, my thing is we actually kind of made amends recently this year,
Well, that's good.
And it was something when my mom was sharing information with me about just kind of being a better person. She was kind of telling me being more closer to God, and going to church more, paying my tithes, and all these great different things. And one thing she focal pointed out was make amends with your father and his side of the family. And we made amends, and we haven't even talked about the situation. I've seen my dad on countless occasions recently, and it's been on some, what's up, Pops? Handshake, love you. We in the same area. We chop it up like we never missed a beat.
Okay.
So it gave me clarity. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret it, because I feel like, we have that stubbornness, when it comes to being men, so I may feel some type of way, he may feel some type of way or whatever, but my way of expressing it is through the music, and I feel like that was the only way that I could reach him. So I feel like, did it get to a point where it resonated the way I wanted it to? One thing for sure is that I didn't do it for clout. I didn't do it for a place where I'm like, oh, this is going to go viral, and out of a place of humiliation.
Right.
That ain't how I'm acting. I did it because that's how I was feeling. That's the emotion realm that I was living around at the time, and that's what was built up in me. So rather me do it in my platform through music versus me dealing with it mentally, and it can lead to any other things that can destroy me. You know what I'm saying? Because you hear about kids that's being traumatized from their parenting, or fathers, or their mothers, or whatever per se, and they end up in a whole different mental dysfunction, which can lead to different things. They can try to cope with uncontrollable vices, they can suicidal thoughts and all of that. So I'm thankful and worthy that I was able to just, even express it in the music, where I had a place, a platform where it wasn't gonna do no damage to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay. So you basically the music that you put out, like you said, isn't something that you just do for clout. So you really put time into your music.
Oh, yeah.
And I think so. I was looking at this one Instagram story. I think it was a platform that you were on just recently.
Right.
And I think her name is Shayla.
Yeah.
I want to say it correctly.
Yeah, that's my sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
that's my sister. She definitely doing her thing.
Yeah, and I think she was talking about how, like, these bigger artists and artists that have made it, when they go in and make a song, they not just making a song just to make it and put it out there. Right. They really putting in work into it. Yeah. So is that kind of like how you do your music?
Yeah, of course, because it's like, I feel that if you're in something, be in it for real. You know what I'm saying? Don't just look at it as you trying to pacify a situation, or you trying to. We live in a realm of today's days where fame is like the over extraordinary for the youth, where they would die hard for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just at a point where it's like, that's not what we here for. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we here for. So you got to really just kind of like put things in perspective, like, and put yourself in question, like, what are you really doing it for? So when I take time to write music, it's really trying to like cater to a focal point. Okay. Where it's like I'm trying to really, really hit on something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So you're not new to the game in music.
Right.
How many years have you been doing music?
I've been doing it. I was able to rap since I was 10, but doing it professionally now, this is like my 10-year anniversary of doing it seriously, like professionally, after high school. So it's like full-fledged, head on. They say it take like about 10 years for you to really seek like that breakthrough, that change, and that 10 plus, you know what I'm saying? So you hear from some of the greats today. So I'm thankful that things never took off at an early stage for me, because I wouldn't have knew the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I have now today. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been able to perform at the levels that I'm on now. Like, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no complaints, no regrets. I'm not rushing the process. I'm trusting it more than anything. So
Okay. Yeah. And then do you have any inspirations?
My inspirations, like as far as with people, I'm just all about who really is doing, who is staying true to themselves. I'm not gonna really put no names out there or whatnot, but anybody that's just doing something to stay true to themselves and trying to really change their situation. My whole brand represent be the change, like be the change that you want to see in the world. You know what I'm saying? How can you make a difference not only in your life but other people's lives as well? How can you really just be that solid person to take a stand and, you know what I'm saying, really make a difference, like dominant difference? Take away the selfishness and put more selflessness, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we gotta really get out of that realm of entitlement that we feel like people owe us this or owe us that, or, people entitled to do this. Nah, you gotta do it on your own. You gotta really get up and get to it. And at the same time, when you really get there, those that are in the same phases that you were in the beginning stages, lend that helping hand, Not saying you can save the world, but you can somehow, some way spark the minds of the next to do so, you know what I'm saying, to keep the tradition going. So you got to break that narrative.
All right. I mean, I think you really preaching something, you know what I'm saying? I think that, you see a lot of that out here. Yeah. People, like you said, thinking that you owe them something, and things like that. So, yeah,
right.
You're definitely speaking it, man. So, how did you get your name, your stage name, Pariis Noel?
So Pariis, I was going by Pariis originally, so it's an acronym. So it's passion, always, react, and success. So the two I's, I get on people a lot. When they don't spell my name right, I really get, it's tedious. Like, put two I's on my name because it's meaningful. So the two I's represent my zodiac sign. I'm a Gemini. So it's just identity. So, the acronym just always been my thing about being passionate. You know what I'm saying? So Noel came along from just along the journey. This guy named Mr. Chuck, I was working at Parts Galore. And I used to freestyle for him, you know what I'm saying, like rap, and tell him, yo, I can rap. And he was like, yo, let me hear something, you know what I'm saying? So I kicked for him or whatever, and he looking at me crazy like, yo, you really great, like, you dope. Like, I'm gonna call you Young Gifted, like Young Noel. That's it. Young, you know how these older cats be nowadays with their logic. So I'm like, Noel, Young Gifted. I'm like, Noel, he getting it from a sense like we're Christmas, Noel Gifted, that whole thing. And I'm like, yo, that got a ring. Like, I didn't say nothing to him about it, but after the fact, I'm like Pariis Noel, and just put the two together. So I'm like, that's where it's at. So it's all an identity thing.
Okay. I mean, I like the acronym because my name is So.
Okay.
And that's an acronym as well. That I have. So I really do feel that.
Yeah.
So when did you first start performing, and what was that like?
First start performing, probably, man, when I got started out the gate, when I decided to do it professionally. I think one of the first performances I had was at Blondie's with Papa Duck.
Is that even still around, Blondie's?
Man, I don't even know, man.
I feel like that shut down.
My uncle Kevin is like a real inspiration to like my music and starting me off. Like he was doing it, and he still does it to today, but he was doing it more so for a therapeutic purpose, like, just, in the studio in his own home, in the circumference of his home, and just doing it. So he really kind of like set me up like on my first shows, so to speak. And I was like, it was on TV and everything, man. I did a song called Do. I never forget, man. I was just like, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Like, just thinking back on it, just kind of, it made me laugh, like how far you've come when you really sit back and think and analyze, like, damn, this is what I was on.
Right.
Like, now you look at it and it's like the evolution is crazy.
The growth, yeah.
Yes, it's crazy, man. Yeah,
So speaking of that, how have you crafted your sound and uniqueness over the years?
By becoming multidimensional. So not afraid to find balance. My whole thing was in the beginning with me was like rap. I'm gonna rap till I turn blue. But I got around like certain engineers and certain producers, and I started learning the difference between actually being recorded and being produced. It's a totally different thing. Anybody can go in the studio and record, but it takes a genius to produce you. Like, really sit down and bring something out of you that you didn't even know. So that would lead to me being able to do R&B records. And I'm like, I always had a sense of tone and melody. And, when I wasn't afraid to do it, I was like, you know what? Let me try this record. And I did it one time. And then from there, it just started to sporadically grow. Like, now I'm on my album Beautifully Flawed that I dropped last year with Rel Carter from Rock Nation Equity Distribution. He A&R'd the project. So I wrote all the hooks. Like, so when you hear the R&B artists that are on those records that I featured, I wrote all the hooks for them.
Okay.
Like, no one wrote hooks or anything. I wrote those hooks. And
wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to do R&B records as well. And it just give me balance. It give me that sense of it give me that sense of good feeling. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's really, I feel like this. My thing is go into the game with a +1. If you an artist, go in there, learn, be a producer, be, a rapper or R&B artist, learn how to do all these different things. You know what I'm saying? Go in the game with a +1. So that way you can kind of like have multiple streams of income on the business aspect, and then your longevity speaks as well too. So you can you may get placements with other R&B artists, write records for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The whole nine. So you just got to kind of like broaden your horizons a bit. So
yeah, I mean, and I think too, going into the game and like really being like these executives. I mean, you want to kind of, I want to say like have more going for yourself, know a little more too.
Yeah.
So yeah. What do you say to people who would compare your sound to Drake? And I say that because I've seen a few comments. People saying, maybe your flow is a little bit like him on some of your songs, not all of your songs, because I don't think you really sound like him like that.
You did your homework, dude. But no, man, I've heard the comparison from the jump. At this point in my career, man, it don't even bother me no more. It is what it is. I'm self-spoken in my identity, who I am, staying true to me. Drake is a very high influence to me, because I feel like he is like, how can I put this? He's like the full like cornerstone to our generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at this stage right now, when people hear my tone or my voice or whatever, I'm not altering it to be like oh, I'm gonna make it sound like this or whatnot. Like my voice tone, how I deliver whatever it is, that's just how it is. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay true to me. I'm not gonna push and budge and nudge to shift myself to do something different that's not me, because it's like if that hits and then I have to keep doing it, I gotta live with that at the end of the day.
Right.
I have to tell my team and everybody all the time, like if we sit here and we gotta put a show on and we expecting to sell 500 tickets and we only sell 50, I gotta still get on that stage. I gotta still be the forefront. You know what I'm saying? So at this point right now, my whole thing is everything is mental with me. It's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? So that way you just gotta really just live in a world of your own, in your mind, and you know what I'm saying? Really, really just kind of like take care of yourself here first more than anything. So I don't take heed to it. It don't bother me. I know I'm gonna hear it, you know, once things really, really surface.
Right.
You know, but I got thick skin, man. I'm from Detroit, man. Stop playing. Come on, man.
Got to be, all right.
Real, like, I'm straight. I got God on my side. I ain't worried about these people.
All right, I hear that. I hear it. So where do you get your beats from? So speaking of like having a +1, do you create your own beats as well?
More so, I would say co-producing on my end, but I got a go-to producer. It's my dog Jupiter Galaxy. He working with Jazzy Faye right now, so he out in Atlanta. But me and him, man, just got a great relationship, kind of on some like Hove and Guru type situation, however you want to call it. You know, whatever duos that you know that's artist producers. But he just send me stuff like randomly, or I have ideas and I be like, yo, I need something like this or whatever. We just cook up, like, and he just always match the energy. It never fails. Like whatever it is, even when I got into the R&B records, like he made it even more easy. You know what I'm saying? To really just read me, like, cause he know like me myself, I'm an instrument. You know what I'm saying? So he got to be able to kind of like play the proper chords and things around me as an instrument to know, like he'd know, like he sent me something recently, and was like, what did he say? He sent me something recently and was like, man, God was telling me to send you this, like Pariis need to air his soul out. And the song just so happened that I thought the idea of it was soul healing. So it's a new record that I'm like working on or whatever. It's actually finished. I just got to record it. But just him reading me, knowing me, like it takes years of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, to find somebody that you can have that connection with like that. Yeah.
Like that, and that's my main thing. Like just having those back pocket people or the forefront people, no matter whatever it is we go through, man, we got to stay at this, like, because it's predetermined. You know what I'm saying? For real. So
how do you get in the zone while in the studio?
I come prepared. I ain't gonna hold you up. I don't come in there like, yo, I need to write this verse. Everything I'm ready to lay down, I'm dropping. Like I spend my time writing at the house, at the crib, like working on my melodies, my high octaves, low octaves. If I'm doing R&B joints, if I'm doing rap joints, make sure I got everything pre-prepared, because you got to think at the end of the day, this is a business, and them engineers got to get paid. Them lights still got to be on. So I'm not coming in there wasting no time. If I got to be at the studio from 3, if I got to be at the studio from 3 to 8, then I need every bit of that time that I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure we do this, and that. Track outs is on point. We there on time in a timely manner, whatever the case is, because anything can happen in a sense. So we want to make sure we on a time sufficient base. You know what I'm saying?
So do you always write out your songs, or have you ever just went in and just kind of like said something and that was the song?
I write out everything, man. I'm not about to sit here in front like a lot of people do when they be like, yeah, I don't write nothing down, and I've heard it all, and they be like, come on, man, like it take a lot to process what a lot of people be saying. You feel me? Like I'm not here to fabricate or anything. I write all my lyrics down. I take my time because I know what I want to do. I know the direction that I want to go in, and I know how I want it to sound. It got to come out a certain way. So I'm not about to sit here and act as if I'm just this super duper extra extraordinary guru where I'm just like, oh, off the dome top. Like that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that realm.
So you're a pretty conscious lyrical rapper, and the music that you create, I feel, has clarity and a realness. As you touch on a lot of important topics. So tell us about that. So why do you decide to create music about those issues?
Because I feel like it's our job. Like, we'd be selfish to not address what's going on. Like, it's not affecting us. Like Rihanna said it. I forgot award show where she was at. I really forgot what award show she was at. And forgive me, charge it to my mind and not my heart, Rihanna, if you ever see this shit, for real. But she just was talking about, we sit here and act like these problems not our problems. You know what I'm saying? We got to realize that these is our problems. So when you see certain stuff about Trayvon Martin or Michael Brown, whatever the case is, tell your friends to pull up. Tell your homies to pull up. Don't pull up at the club. Don't pull up at this place, that place where, you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna serve no purpose. Everybody love a good time, but what about a good difference? You feel me?
Right.
Like, that really makes much more sense to us, because like, I'd rather go to bed at night knowing that we made a difference in a community versus making no difference in a volatile atmosphere, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think too, you know, like you do see that a lot where people will pull up. People will go to what they want to go to.
Man, dude.
You know, you don't see people going to like marches and different things like that. You more so do see them. They go to the movies. They'll go out to eat. They'll do this, do that, instead of something like meaningful that's going to change something.
Yeah, man. Time management, because you got to think, especially if you got kids in this day and age, man, you better set that tone to make it. Plant them seeds, man. I'm telling you, I tell my son every time I drop him off at daycare, I make him do his little affirmation every morning. I ask him, where's God at? He say, in the sky. I say, I tell him to repeat this. I say, I'm great, I'm blessed, I'm smart, I'm strong, I can do anything. He repeat everything. I tell him, say his prayers. He say his prayers. I ask him, what's my name? He say, Dada. I say, what's your name? He say, Gavin. And I say, I love you. I say, I love you too. So it's just a thing that I'm planting into him. As he grows, as he get older, he'll know this is what my pops instilled in me. So he can go out and continue to keep the envelope pushing. You know what I'm saying? We got to really just understand that, man, that's where it start. Like, we traumatized because of the way we came up, or what we accustomed to, or what we see. So we got to really just kind of like plant that seed early on, man.
Right. So that they can grow and they can make the changes and they can continue on. So, so I recently seen a post that there was a disconnect in Detroit, and that the city only glorifies trap music. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is this: I am doing my part, adding my contribution. I have nothing to say about nobody and what they doing. Okay. I'm here to worry about Pariis Noel and Pariis Noel only. Okay. Whatever everybody else doing, that's on them. It's just that simple, man. For real.
Okay, I feel you. So I asked a question recently at a showcase. As we always hear about Detroit being a violent city, and there have been a lot of artists and creatives dying from violence over the last year, with like Nipsey, and then recently Pop Smoke, and then even in Detroit, DJ Slick B.
Yeah, that's my brother, my dog.
So what do you so what's your take on the violence, and what do you think will help people get out of that mindset if they can?
Honestly, man, I just feel like right now, at this day and age, man, it's how can I put this, man? I really feel like we've damaged so much, and we got to take accountability. You know what I'm saying? We really got to take accountability for action. You know, like the situation that happened to Nipsey and Pop, man, you know, Slick, of course, that hit home terribly, man. Like, that's terribly, like, I did not see that coming whatsoever, and I just feel like the enemy just busy, man. The enemy just busy. Like, we gotta really understand, man, like, as much as we think we in control, we not. Like, all of these different things that's occurring, all these different incidents that's happening, we not in control, man, and we gotta really become closer to God. Like,
do you think it's like all like just predestined?
I think everything is based off choice, decisions. Like, it's just all about like what people mindset is at. Like I said, man, the enemy is just roaming. The enemy roaming. You got to pray them spirits off you, man. That you won't be around unforeseen circumstances. Like, all of that. Slick didn't deserve that whatsoever. Like, they pouring all his accolades out, and he get back to the city, get back to the community. High-spirited guy, never was in no controversy, never heard his name in any sort of bad feuds or anything like that. He didn't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? So I think we such in a realm of, we comfortable, like Detroit is comfortable with hatred. Like, we comfortable with it. Like, you look at, I go on tour and I'm out touring with Rail Carter for the past 3 years or whatever, and the love that is being given to me, I feel it's genuine. I feel it's true. I feel like it's good vibrations, good energy. I'm big on energy. That's my thing. Like if it feels right, by all means, I'll accept it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like when we go out the state, they show love, all of these different things, because we set a certain tone as Detroiters. Our breed is different. Our skin is different. Our posture is different. Our demeanor is different. Like when they hear Detroit, they hear grittiness. You know what I'm saying? Like they hear where we come from. Like you make it out of here, you make it anywhere. So we gotta understand, like, man, how much of a collective respect that we have, and then we come back home, man, we ready to take each other out.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of times when I hear people, they be proud of like, oh yeah, like Detroit, or that's the murder capital, or whatever. Be like, why you proud of that? You shouldn't be proud of something like that.
They tricked us, man. I was planning, man. They tricked us into thinking that. They tricked us into thinking that's cool. They tricked us into thinking that was okay to be labeled as the murder mitten, murder capital. They tricked us into thinking that, man. They tricked us into thinking street life and all these other things is cool. You know what I'm saying? They tricked us into that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then they found a way where we can capitalize off of it, and that wasn't nothing but to enhance it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why everybody think it's cool to take a certain approach when it comes to the music and the entertainment scene. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we was tricked. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. They made that, they framed that to be cool. Like tell me where that's cool at. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's not where it's at. So it is what it is, man. Like I said, that's just I'm just, like I said, that's my whole take on it.
Okay. So let's get back into your music. So you said you created your debut album, Beautifully Flawed, last year. Yeah. Tell us about that album. What was it like creating it?
It was a breath of fresh air. I'm not gonna hold you up. I feel like the time was right. Having Rel on board to be able to A&R the album and the process and everything that we went through with it, and from the beat selections to the scores to the producers to the concept to the imagery to the photography behind it, everything just felt right. Everything felt right. It's so weird how the energy was so cohesive, and what that album meant and what was the dynamic focal point behind it was being the change. Like Beautifully Flawed, realizing that you are a beautiful individual, realizing that you have shortcomings, you human at the end of the day, but it's up to you to really determine that and realize that, attack it, and move on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I ain't perfect. I'm not this high almighty person where I don't bleed, I don't cry, I don't sleep, I don't hurt, all these different things. So Beautifully Flawed just really is a pure representation for people in general, because that's what we are. We are beautifully flawed, as a whole. So that's when you get really into the music, into the album, you hear, I'm not just speaking from my perspective, I'm speaking for other people. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I like to do. I like to kind of always keep it selfless when it comes to the music. You know what I'm saying? But more so, like I said, put it to a point where they stand attached. Right. I want people to hear my voice and feel like they can escape.
Okay.